Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are doing yet another unboxing video. I've got something pretty awesome and let's just talk about it. So if you watched my last couple of videos, you know that I have been pretty unhappy with my ESU cab control system. I don't know if it was something I did. I don't know if it's just, you know, the conditions of my basement are not conducive to however they handle the Wi-Fi through that system, or if I just got a bad system or what, but I was having a lot of issues keeping my connection with my cab control system. And although I really liked the interface, I did not like the fact that sometimes I just couldn't even connect to my layout at all. You know, the throttle to the layout to even run trains to begin with. Gosh, there's so much tape up here. So I decided it was time to let it go and try something else. So that is what we were doing. So today I got from Yankee Dabbler an ESU, no, I'm sorry, a Digitrax EVOXD. I think it is. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright. I'm ripping the whole thing apart. There we go. Here we go. Alright. The Digitrax Evolution Express is what they're calling it, I guess. This is the new system by Digitrax. I know a lot of people with Digitrax systems. See, here's the thing. I want a system that I know will work for years and years to come. I don't want to keep buying a DCC system. I want to be stubborn. I want to learn one system really, really good, and then I want to never have to change. And one thing you can say about Digitrax is that they make a system that's, I mean, their previous system has been generally pretty much unchanged for many, many years. And it works. And there's a lot of people out there that use it, and a lot of people that stand by it. I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh. So, here we go. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what we got in the package. All right, so we have our power supply cable. This is for the, I think this is for the Wi-Fi like receiver thing, which is this guy right here. Yeah, the UR93. This is going to be how the transmitter or throttle talks to the base station. This is also what you need if you have a proto throttle and you want to interface with your Digitrax system. You need one of these. I happen to have a proto throttle, and I'm looking forward to using it with this. That's the other thing. I have not hooked up my proto throttle yet because I've been struggling with that ESU system this whole time, and I haven't been able to. You know, I wanted to get it working and get it staying working so that I could have the throttle and work on that, but it wasn't happening. So, all right. This is the base unit. It's all nicely wrapped and packaged in here, which is good. Very small, much smaller than I imagined it would have been from my pictures, which is cool. I've got a little shelf I've already sort of like placed under the layout that I think this thing will sit on and look pretty good. From what I understand, the big upgrade on this is a USB port so that you can hook up USB stuff to it. So that is pretty cool. We have here a USB cable. We have like a, I guess this is like Cat 5 cable for connecting your throttles with. So you got 2 of those. A lanyard, which is always important when you have a throttle. And the AC adapter. So this is the 5 amp AC adapter. This will do 5 or 8 amps, depending on which adapter you use. I talked with a new friend in the hobby who has a Digitrax system. I asked if 5 amps was going to be enough for my layout. That was one concern I had, was do I need to invest in the larger 8 amp adapter, because the 8 amp sort of power module adapter thing was like another $150 or something like that. He said no. He has a layout about the same size as mine, maybe more track work, maybe, and he runs like 10 locomotives on it with no problem. I'm going to be running 6 at the most. I think I have less track work than he does as well. And we have the throttle itself. I heard something about the throttle. I'm going to tell you right now. And once I say it, you'll never be able to unsee it. People say this kind of looks like the profile of a female. I'll let you figure that out. The throttle, I'm having problems turning the throttles now, thinking about it. It's got you know, the wheel, which is good. The wheel's a good size. Oh God. It feels good in the hand. Yeah, so let's hook this thing up and see what happens. Okay, we will get to the demonstration of the throttle here in a second, but I wanted to show you kind of how I have it hooked up to my layout, because I've had some people ask in the past, and so I wanted to demonstrate that now. So I've got a little shelf underneath here, and that shelf is sitting the Digitrax command station, as well as the power adapter here, which is nice because it kind of gets it to a spot where I can actually like take a look at status lights and determine whether or not everything's plugged in and working okay and all that. It's a little messy under here, I apologize, but that's how wiring goes. The rest of it is underneath this thing right here, which swings down. We'll take a look at that right now. Okay, so this panel swings down to kind of reveal the rest of it, which I've got some wires running from the base station over into this area here. This is the power that goes to power the tracks. It's daisy chained off of these 2 circuit protectors, circuit breakers. And each one of these circuit breakers goes back to an individual terminal block, which then goes to feed the rest of the layout. And this guy right here is the wireless receiver for the duplex system. And I've got it mounted where the old system was kind of strapped into the board there. So pretty simple. You know, setting it up just like how the diagram shows you in the instruction manual is really easy. The only complication that I have on this is the fact that it's going into these daisy chained circuit breakers before they head back to the bus lines in the layout itself. Okay, now that I have everything hooked up and the base station is connected to the track, I'm ready to start using my throttle, start running some trains. I've had this thing for less than 24 hours. I set this up last night, and I was able to get trains running on my layout, get multiple trains running on my layout without much fuss, which is really awesome because I have never really used a Digitrax throttle other than a couple of times when visiting someone else's layout. So the fact that somebody like me who's never really used the system before can get in here and find his way around without much referring to the manual, I think is a really great thing. So let's talk quickly about the throttle itself. It is powered by 3 AA batteries. I have rechargeables in here right now. It has this like traditional sort of like television remote kind of click-in thing that's go on a break at some point, which is a little disappointing. I wish they would have, for as often as you'll have to be replacing batteries or taking your rechargeables out of this thing, I wish they would have come up with a better solution for the battery door, because this is going to break at some point, and it's going to be fun trying to replace that. Anyway, the throttle itself is pretty standard, pretty simple to use. Things I like about it are I do like the fact that we have buttons as opposed to a touch screen on the other system that I had, the cab control system by ESU. So it's easy to sort of like find your way around the remote without having to look at it like you would a regular television remote. All these buttons are different shapes as well, so it's sort of easy to, by feel, figure out where you are on the remote, which on the throttle, which is really nice as well. The throttle wheels are nice and big and clicky, and that's cool. And yeah, so let's go ahead and power up the throttle. So you hit the power button here, and the throttle comes on. Hooking it up for the first time was very simple. You just plug in the Wi-Fi receiver, plug this into your base station as well, and it just finds it automatically. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to press any buttons or anything like that. It's really awesome. Now, it is powered up, but there's no power running to the track, so we want to do that next. So we hit the power button, and you'll see if I press the power button, see how it kind of flashes? It's almost like it's like double clicking, if that makes sense. But that's supposedly on purpose. You're supposed to hit either the left or the right corners of the power button. And by doing that, it actually takes you to the power selection screen. Why not just a single press? I think it's to prevent you from accidentally powering it off. Although, like, if you just hit the corner, you're going to do the same thing. So supposedly it's a feature and not a bug. That's what Digitrax says. It almost feels like the sensor's like in the wrong spot, or you know how sometimes these little soft buttons are like, you press one and a different button activates. I don't know. Anyways, the track power is off right now because we can see that this is dark, and here it says track off, and track on is light gray. So we're going to hit A, and that turns track power on your layout. Now, there are two throttles here, or two throttle wheels, which means you can run two different locomotives at one time. I have locomotive 4336 set on my right throttle, and my left one, I had this one right here, 78 and 97. If I want to remove 4336 from the right throttle and move 78 and 97 over to the left throttle, I can do so. Well, first of all, if I want to navigate back and forth between the two, that's pretty simple. All I got to do is actually just start playing with the left throttle, moving that, and then it flips me to the left side, or I can flip to the right side to play with the right throttle. Now, also I can hit this B button right here, and it'll flip between right and left throttle. One thing I don't like about this menu is the size of the fonts here. Like the word left should be very, very important, right? To let me know which locomotive I have. Because at a glance, it's hard to tell, right, whether or not you have the left throttle active or the right throttle active. That's annoying. That right and that left should be much more prominent than it is right now. Instead of having to look at very small text on the screen. It's nice that the locomotive number is as large as it is. For a layout as small as mine, with as few locomotives as I have, that's not going to be a huge deal. But if you have a larger layout, I can see where something like this can become kind of confusing, where you have to kind of like either look very closely at your throttle or look very closely at your locomotives to determine which ones you have. So here's another thing that I don't like about it. It powers off after a couple of seconds of unused. Not the whole thing, just the screen itself. I think that's just to save battery, but it seems to happen very, very quickly. I wish it would dim down before powering off. Give me like 30 seconds of a dim screen before it powers the screen off completely. Turning the screen back on is just a matter of pressing basically any button. It won't register the button's command if the screen is off, but it just powers the screen back on again. You have your function keys. You have 0 through 9 down here, and then you have 10, 11, and 12 up here on the D, E, and F key, which is a little funky, but it works. One thing I do miss from the ESU cab control system is the fact that I have to learn all the function keys now. Before, I would just see on the screen if I wanted my bell, there's a little bell icon on the screen. I press that and that works. If I wanted, you know, the horn, there's a little horn icon. I press the horn icon, that works. Now I got to actually know what functions those are attached to. So here I am, an idiot, kind of going through with my instruction manual and taking a look at it and going to the section where it tells me what the function keys are for everything. And I can see right now, sound on and off on startup sequence is F8. So I'm going to hit the 8 key here, and it will start up my startup sequence. If I need to reach the higher keys, you know, the F 13, 14, 15, and higher than that, you see this function +0. Right now we're in the ones. If I press it again, now we're in the teens. So it says F function 10 +10. So if I wanted to hit function 15, I hit the 5 now, and it lights up the 15. And then here's 20. So if I hit the 5 again, now it lights up 25. And I can go back to 1 again. I see that 8 is activated at this moment. So let me, like an idiot, go back and look at this and determine where my headlights are. So function 0 is my headlights. And you can see my headlights turned on just now. And my ditch lights are F6. So I can hit that, and the ditch lights are on. And this is just really, honestly, this is just a matter of me just learning the functions. It'll be easy enough for me to pick up once I figure that out. It's just because I'm used to, I was coddled with the cab control system into not having to ever bother learning what the functions were. I just saw the icon indicator on the screen and pressed the appropriate one. Anyway, let's go ahead and, oops, this is on the left control, so we'll go ahead and start that up. And works really great. So I'm turning off the sound effects, and yeah, it runs like you'd expect it to. Now, one thing we could do here, I'm going to try this because I actually haven't done this more than once, so let's see how well I remember. If I want to move this 7897 from my left throttle over to my right one, because generally I want to run things on my right one, let's go to my right throttle here. I see I have locomotive 4336 activated. I don't want to run that one right now, so I'm going to dispatch that locomotive. I'm going to remove it from that throttle, so I'm going to choose loco, and then I'm going to hit the X key or the stop key here, and that should remove it. Now, if I hit local again, I can type in 7897 and hit local one more time, and now I have my 7897 on my right throttle. So if I were to go ahead and give it some power. Oh, wait, hold on. Press yes to steal local. See, there's a little scrolling indicator here if I didn't do something right, which is awesome. Like, I'm glad that it has instructions that pop up on the screen for you. So there are some things they're doing really, really smartly with this controller that I really like. So now I have my locomotive on my right channel here, and it is operating like I wish. Directional button is right here, which is cool. So I can flip directions and it'll come back around. And that is really nice. Now, as far as, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. So switches. So I have switch machines that are operated via the remote on here that lead to my staging tracks. So this little S right here that looks like a switch. Tap that and that takes you to the switch screen. And now I can choose which switch I want to throw. And it'll show you the last switch you have selected. So if I hit switch 1, 0, 1, I can see right now it's in its closed position. So I can hit A to move it to its thrown position. And if you heard, I don't know if you can hear, but it actually flipped that switch. Now that's using the what's it called? The PS96. I can't remember the exact model number, but it's a Digitrax system that gives DCC addresses to switches if you have them hooked up to like something like a tortoise switch machine. But hit close, and I can hear it closing back to the closed position there, which is really nice. If I hit X, that takes me back to regular locomotive mode and gets me out of the switch machine mode. Here's the menu here to begin to do some of the things like setting up your decoders in your locomotives, programming your CVs for your locomotives, and then utility tasks being things that are really mostly, I think, to this throttle itself, like adjusting whether or not you hear the little beep when you turn the throttle, and I think even as long just like length of time the screen stays on, and a few other items as well. So that's about it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This whole thing here is kind of a hot mess. I don't like a lot of how this is set up. I do like seeing like instructions along the bottom. You know, having these buttons here dedicated to functions on the screen, I think is nice. The way that it prioritizes some of the stuff on screen here, I think, is a little odd. But like, why are we having a 0 and a 6 when it could just say F0, F6? I don't know. There's a few different things that I might have done differently to this. But that being said, I think that overall, this is a really good controller. It feels like a big jump up for Digitrax as far as their control mechanisms. I think the system itself has been very, very good for a lot of years and has worked very, very well, and has been very flexible and very expandable. But I've always kind of hated their throttles, and so I'm glad that they have a throttle that I think is a good complement to the rest of Digitrax offerings. And that'll do it for today. Thanks a lot for checking out this review. It's not a review. It's mostly an unboxing slash setup, a little bit of an overview from the perspective of somebody who doesn't know much about DCC. Yeah, so thanks again for checking this out. If you have questions, I may not be the right person to ask for that since I know so little about Digitrax and DCC in general. But go ahead and post it in the comments, and maybe somebody else down there will see it and give you the answer you're looking for. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you in another video.